And hey, well, this is Francisco from Share Dr. Phone, and the iPhone 12 is truly a great iPhone. It's probably my favorite iPhone ever, second only to the 2020 SE and the 2016 iPhone SE. And the price is great, but it gives you everything that you can expect from a flagship, even if it is technically the budget version of the flagship line this time around. I know this phone is going to be absolutely worth it, but should you get it? It's not perfect, and there are still going to be some things that you should know, so let's go ahead and dive right in. And here's what's going to be new with the iPhone 12 very quickly. You've got the ability of using 5G if you live near any 5G towers, and you're paying for the proper service, of course, and you've also got MagSafe for wireless charging and attaching other types of accessories magnetically. You've got a dedicated Siri button on the side, and we've still got our typical IP68 water and dust resistance rating with a new ceramic construction for the back panel instead of your usual glass. The Siri design is going to consist of a great build in general, and it is going to be one that hasn't gotten old at all for me. The iPhone 12 is beautiful for sure, and it's really well designed. And when it comes to looks, this is certainly my favorite thus far. And then you're going to find your typical buttons layout with some minor changes here. We're going to get a much boxier design for the trimmings, a new Siri button, and a more ergonomic design in general, which is just a lot easier to hold. It's lovely, and I have no complaints about it besides it being a huge fingerprint magnet, especially the black one, which is the one I ended up opting in for. So yeah, and this iPhone features is a 6.1-inch 1170 by 2532 OLED display that looks absolutely beautiful. It's still a 60Hz panel, but like I said in my first impressions video, this is not really a problem. I do use a Google Pixel 4 as my daily driver, which has a 90Hz panel, and I have no problems with it here. And this display is very bright and the colors are awesome. Not at all overly saturated by any means really, and I think that this is just a fantastic display whether you're watching content, gaming, or doing pretty much anything. It is just a really good value, so I can definitely strongly recommend it for those priorities too, and I'm very happy that we finally get a high resolution panel for the budget version of the phone. The speakers are actually one of the more mediocre things about this iPhone. It does still have a stereo set of speakers, which is pretty cool. It just doesn't keep up with something like the Pixel 4, for instance, which does have way better speakers. The speakers seem to be pretty quiet and tinny, which is a disappointment for the iPhone 12. It's fine, but it's not great, and it is going to affect your experience when it comes to content consumption. This iPhone features an Apple A14 Bionic chip, 4 gigs of RAM, and 64 gigs of storage. We're going to talk about the cameras in just a bit, but I wanted to talk about how these specs translate into gaming performance specifically. And it translates beautifully. If it can handle Mortal Kombat, in my opinion, it can handle pretty much anything else in the App Store. You get a very steady frame rate here, and the game plays greatly at 60 frames per second. There are going to be no performance issues here whatsoever. I absolutely love it, though I'm also not very surprised with the performance here because iPhones have been notorious for always performing very well when it comes to games and things of the like. And when it comes to cameras, we've actually got some of the best camera combinations here that we have seen so far from an $800 phone. We got 2 cameras on the rear, which both support 4K at 60 frames per second when it comes to video, and includes a fantastic ultra-wide camera that allows for some pretty cool GoPro-like footage if that's what you're looking for. Overall, this is definitely a camera that you can trust, and portrait mode is still a strong suit here too if you're more so into photography. It's genuinely impressive, and it performs incredibly well in low light too, and when it comes to its scenarios. Have I mentioned the selfie camera yet? Well, it's also capable of 4K 60 footage with a wider lens than before, which means that here you've actually got the best selfie camera I've come across, and this is going to be really nice. It's very good stuff, and it's not even the Pro model. Battery life has proven to be pretty good here too, with a few hours of watching YouTube videos and a lot more use afterwards with shopping online. I still got about 6 hours of straight up use and still had like about 40 to 30% of battery left, so like straight up this has been pretty awesome and very impressive. And with much lighter use, you could definitely expect this phone to last you all day. No issues. I actually have not charged mine in over 24 hours, and I have been using it pretty heavily in and out, so I'm pretty happy with that battery life. But I do still have some complaints here. The speakers are mediocre at best and could definitely use some improvements. There's no reason why they should be as quiet and tinny as they are. This phone is very prone to fingerprints and even a dust magnet, if anything. I tried to keep my environment as clean as possible, but here's always dust that gets stuck to this phone very easily, even if it's not being touched when being in a pretty clean space. It's the toughest phone I've ever owned to keep clean overall, in my opinion. And why couldn't we get a power brick in the box? That's very silly. I know about the environmental argument, but I will be honest, I don't care, because I don't believe that to be the real reason why they exclude that, considering that they still sell the power brick separately on the store. I really don't think they care, especially when these iPhones are about the same price. The charging brick would have been really nice to have, especially when USB-C still hasn't fully replaced USB-A everywhere. We're just not ready for that yet. And that's pretty much it. I have a ton of praise for this phone for sure, and from the new beautiful design to the new little things to make this phone a worthy successor to the iPhone 11, this is now my favorite iPhone of all time. I think it is definitely worth the $800 asking price, and while for some it may not only be $800 since you might want a case and the MagSafe charger, a power brick which might be a necessity for some, for most, and some more, it is still a pretty good value overall. With that said, strongly recommended. And if you like this video, go ahead and make sure to leave a like and comment your thoughts below, and make sure to subscribe for many more reviews moving forward. This has been Francisco from Dr. Phone. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one. Enjoy.